Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, check out these headlines. We got Caitlin Long, Rosie Rios, JP Morgan, BlackRock, Larry Fink with possibly one of the most bullish crypto clips you've ever seen, along with Brad Garlinghouse as well. We got that and so much more. Somebody just rolled that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, it is a $1.26 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is off by 2.21% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin now 30,300 plus, 1937 and change for Ethereum. Tether market cap is 83.6 billion right now. We see XRP at 72%. It's off by 6.6% in the 24 hour, but we're still up by 55+% on the 7-day, ladies and gentlemen, after the news that XRP, as a matter of law, is no longer thought or alleged or assumed to be a security. It is not a security as a matter of law. How about that? And right here, very quickly, I want to tell everybody, I Trust Capital has XRP back on it, and so does Coinbase. And don't forget, Uphold never stopped carrying XRP. And I want to tell you right now, I have a link for Uphold if you want to get on there. XRP holders are going to have early access to the new Uphold Vault too, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you check out I Trust Capital for the best crypto IRAs. Check out Uphold. And guess what else? I'm going to be sitting down with the CEO of Uphold next week, and you're going to love what he's got to say. We start right here. John Deaton shares this, and watch out either later today or tomorrow for another incredible clip of John Deaton with Charles Payne. Can we just say how grateful we are for John Deaton and everything he's done for all of us in this community and continues to do? Oh, my goodness. I want to get him on the show very soon, too, and discuss with the recent ruling what it really means for XRP holders and the class action at this point. So hang out for that. We're going to keep you up to date. But he says right here, do you know how difficult and challenging it is to be wrong all the time? Yet Jim Cramer pulls it off. It's truly an incredible phenomenon. It sure is. It is an anomaly.
XRP and Solana and Dogecoin, those are all, I believe, cons.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, if we think that the XRP slash USD coin is something that we should be following, well, I mean, we should be following, we should put up like Rent the Runway and Stitch Fix up there. I mean, honestly.
Unbelievable. Listen, this guy's calling XRP a con. How about this guy himself possibly being the con here? 8 days before Lehman Brothers collapse, he literally screams at the screen, the television screen, telling people that you're safe and to stay there. I think he's a puppet for Wall Street. Here is an incredible article. I encourage everybody to go read this. I want to shout out Meta Lawman because he was available and sat down with me immediately after the ruling. I tell you, another brilliant legal mind in this space who is helping all of us navigate the uncertainty and ambiguity that the SEC has done such an incredible job at bringing to this space. But this article here, featured by American Banker, and there's no paywall, ladies and gentlemen, so go read this article. It is fantastic. What I want to give to you is just a couple little short clips here that he believes that the SEC will ultimately lose and be put back in their place. He cites the Supreme Court decisions recently that have suggested that the Supreme Court is not afraid to tell government agencies that they are out of bounds and essentially going to be put back in their place. What he does bring up here as a very great question is this: how much damage will Chairman Gensler leave in his wake before the courts once again affirm that our elected representatives in Congress, not unelected political appointees, have the authority and the responsibility to make important policy decisions in this country? And that's why we love James Murphy right there, because he got that one right on the money. And I tell you, you know what's really terrible about all of this is that Gary Gensler himself, when he first entered the SEC chair, said in testimony that he recognized he did not have the jurisdiction to rule over exchanges and other areas. So, you know, again, just highlighting exactly what Gary Gensler knew when he first assumed office and now is turned against. So here we are. JP Morgan declares XRP court win a crypto industry game changer, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they know what's up. I don't need to read this to you. It clearly says, you know, that essentially the favorable ruling is going to basically be a game changer for the entire crypto industry. And it is, ladies and gentlemen. And here is Caitlin Long, who had experience and understanding about Ripple and what they were doing in the early days. Take a quick listen to this.
I've worked with Ripple actually dating back to 2014, so I know them pretty well, or not as much in recent years. But while I was still at Morgan Stanley, actually, we took a pretty deep dive with a corporate client on this very question of how do we actually help the corporate clients save money on their cross-border payments. And Ripple is absolutely trying to solve the problem that a lot of folks are trying to solve and coming at it from many different directions. They were the first enterprise company that I met at Morgan Stanley. And had they come in to talk about Bitcoin, they wouldn't have gotten a meeting. But because they had come in to talk about something non-Bitcoin and applying the non-Bitcoin blockchain to real world problems, they got the meeting and then it took off. So you're right. They absolutely have played an important part of defining the problem and showing that there are alternative solutions. I've worked.
And they have, no doubt about it. And I tell you, this is probably one of the most bullish clips that you're ever going to see. And it is $9 trillion asset manager, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says crypto will transcend international currencies due to global demand. Take a listen to this clip here.
And that interest is more and more global investors are asking us about the role of crypto. And as I said, I do believe a lot of crypto is going to be, it's an international asset. It has a differentiating value versus other asset classes, but more importantly, because it's so international, it's going to transcend any one currency and currency valuation. If you just look at the value of our dollar, how it depreciated the last two months and how much it appreciated over the last 5 years, I mean, an international crypto product can really transcend that. And that's why we believe there's great opportunities, and that's why we're seeing more and
Listen to what he just said, talking about the dollar, which is the global reserve currency, how it's come down in the last couple months, but up in the last 5 years. And listen to what he segues into right here.
And how much it appreciated over the last 5 years. I mean, an international crypto product can.
He wanted to say an international cryptocurrency, and then he says product. It sounds like Larry Fink is well aware of what XRP can do when leading into that point. He's talking about the growing strength over the last 5 years of the dollar and the immediate decline in just the last couple months, and bringing something else in to be an intermediary maybe.
Can really transcend that.
Yeah, transcend the idea that a national currency be the only global reserve currency of the world, Larry. Yeah, I think there is something that can transcend that, and it just got a designation as not a security. Rosie Rios, she says, who's on the train now? Incredible work by the entire Ripple team. That includes you too, Rosie Rios, sitting on the board of Ripple. Charles Gasparino here. What is going on here? You know, there was some tweets yesterday about how there was some disappointment that Brad Garlinghouse did not go in and sit with Fox because they gave so much coverage on the case, and I am extremely grateful. And it was more to nod Eleanor Terrett because she was so on this every day and continues to be, and I celebrate her. Now, Charles Gasparino, obviously throughout this process, and certainly after Brad and John Deaton have made multiple appearances on Fox, had become less a journalist and an objective observer and more of someone who was more like a bully, a cyber bully, about this case and where it stood. And I don't know what the turn in Charles was, but I can tell you this, he definitely took a perspective publicly and is still taking a perspective publicly here on social media that is less of a journalist, I tell you that. And it's a bit disappointing. And look, I don't care if we disagree, we can all disagree. I have great respect for all of these people and what they've done. There's no question about it. But there's no denying that Charles has taken a stance here that is not objective journalism. And he says here that he didn't want an interview. He never asked. He said Eleanor Terrett did because she's an axe on the Ripple beat. But we are now doing a story on how much money Ripple will be paying, if any, to settle part of the SEC case it lost. He says, where are they getting it? From the balance sheet, XRP sales. Now it sounds like a jaded girlfriend is what this sounds like, right? This is unbelievable. Brad Garlinghouse responds back in kind, says, Charlie, happy to come in the studio anytime to discuss the facts. Any attempts by the SEC to paint this as some sort of split victory is pathetic. They lost on everything that matters, as many lawyers have noted, not just Ripple's. It says here, to your question here about potential penalties, that's up to the court to decide, not the SEC. You very well know this case was never about fines or penalties. It was about establishing the non-security status of XRP. We won, they lost. Come on in. Yeah, I mean, that's really where this is. And, you know, objective journalism, to be perfectly honest, is when you are never, ever a part of the story. You are merely reporting on it. That has been lost here, Charles. Here's Brad Garlinghouse sitting down and talking about what has happened since the ruling of the case. I want you to hear all of this because it's just that important. Take a listen.
Now to discuss is Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple Labs, along with our Kate Rooney. Kate?
Hey, John, good to see you. And Brad, great to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Good to see you both.
So it's been almost 3 years of litigation. You've been fighting the SEC, and there's been a lot of confusion about what this court decision John mentioned actually means. What is the direct impact for your company, Ripple, and for the broader crypto industry right now?
Well, 2.5 years ago when the SEC first sued us, we said publicly that this wasn't just an attack on Ripple, it was an attack on the entire crypto industry. And I think we did see that play out with the SEC getting more and more aggressive in really trying to regulate through enforcement, which we clearly don't think is a healthy way to do it. I think this is a huge win, not just for Ripple, but for the whole industry. I think it really is the first time the SEC has lost a crypto case and really puts the SEC, some of the SEC's narrative and comments that they make publicly about all of these digital assets being securities, it puts that in check, and I think in a very good way. And hopefully it also drives the legislative process, because it doesn't make sense to try to regulate this through enforcement, but rather let's have clear laws about this that allow rules of the road for all entrepreneurs.
And so, Brad, if this undercuts the SEC's argument, who do you think should be policing these tokens? The industry has really been in the headlines for things like fraud and, frankly, grifts in the past 2 years or so. Do you expect Congress to step up? And if not, is there a gap right now in regulation?
Well, look, I think the SEC, what we found through their emails and during this litigation is that they even identified that there is a gap. And we saw that in the emails they were exchanging internally. Mm-hmm. So I think there is a gap. But look, like any industry, you're going to potentially have bad actors. But the vast, vast, vast majority of people I interact with that are builders and using these technologies to build a better infrastructure for financial transactions, for real estate. There are a lot of different use cases for blockchain and crypto that really can be profound. Ripple has been focused on cross-border payments as a starting point. But look, I think you're going to see an incredible number of use cases for these technologies, and having clear rules of the road allows for the investment, allows entrepreneurs to lean in. I think the SEC just has been wrong as a matter of law and it has really stifled the innovation here in the United States.
Brad, it's clear to see that this is not a win for the SEC, but it's hard to see how it's a win for crypto in the sense that this just puts this back into the lane of either Congress to figure out, and we know how long Congress takes to figure things out, or it just raises the question, when's it going to be clear? It doesn't make sense, frankly, that something's a security sometimes, but not a security other times. It introduces all kinds of uncertainty into transactions and investments that people probably are going to want to hold for more than 2 or 3 years. So, how do you feel about the UK Financial Conduct Authority's new proposed rules on crypto assets? Because we might end up somewhere closer to where they're headed.
Look, I feel very good about what we have seen, not just from the UK, but frankly, I mean, the fact that the European Union, 27 countries came together to create something they called MiCA. And the fact that we can't have one country here in the United States provide any leadership or clarity. But look, John, I'll take the other side of some of what you said. There is now clarity. The rule of law in the United States is clear that XRP is not a security when traded on exchanges, when used for payment. There's a whole bunch of things in the judge's ruling that make it very clear about XRP. The SEC has been clear about Bitcoin also. Now, the unfortunate reality is right now there's clarity for two, Bitcoin and XRP. That's not a good thing. I mean, it might be good for Bitcoin and XRP, but it's the reason why we have been calling for clarity for years, even before this lawsuit. And it's, I think, really a call to action from Congress. You saw representatives like Tom Emmer tweeting yesterday that this really is yet another call to action. And I'm optimistic we're actually going to see some forward momentum in Washington to provide some of the clarity that the SEC has really been fighting in some ways and almost sowing confusion.
You know, another great interview, and obviously I'm sure Brad is going to be making multiple rounds now that we've got the ruling in the case and what are the next steps. I want to shout out to him. But I am baffled when I hear him and Craig DeWitt and others say that there is clarity for Bitcoin. I don't believe that. And I think it is a mistake to believe that, because there is a matter of law that Ripple is not a security. I can't find any matter of law that suggests Bitcoin is not a security or otherwise something else. So, I'm going to remain in question on that particular part of things. But nevertheless, that's how the market is reacting, and that's where we are on this day. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.